Don't know when we can come together as people.
Tigrayan authorities say Eritrea has launched a full-scale offensive along the country's border with northern Ethiopia in what appears to be an escalation of last month's renewal of fighting. The Eritreans are fighting alongside Ethiopian federal forces, including commando units as well as allied militia, Tigray spokesperson Getachew Reda said Tuesday. The U.S. envoy to the Horn of Africa told reporters Tuesday that Washington has been tracking Eritrean troops' movement across the border, and Mike Hammer condemned the movement of the Eritrean soldiers in northern Ethiopia. The full-blown entry of Eritrea into Tigray war looks set to complicate any peace efforts between Tigrayan leaders and Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who mended ties with Eritrea as soon as he rose to power in 2018.
The IMF team to Mozambique announced Monday it had reached a staff-level agreement with the southern African nation on the economic and financial policies that could support the approval of the first review of the program under the ECF arrangement. The ECF, also known as Extended Credit Facility, provides financial support to countries with protracted balance of payments problems. If approved by the IMF Executive Board in December, the agreement would enable the disbursement of about $63.8 million. The Washington-based institution helped a continuing economic recovery. In May, the body granted a loan to Mozambique, the first since it withdrew 6 years ago after a so-called hidden debt scandal.
In Abidjan, the school supply shops are full of people at the beginning of the school year. And as parents and pupils move in and out of the shops to get school supplies, a sword of Damocles is above their heads. Those with average grades of less than 8.5 out of 10 would be excluded at the end of the year. In Côte d'Ivoire, education has taken a blow, a real blow. Our children are in high classes and don't have the level. They can't even write their names, write basic sentences. And that worries us. But I think this measure will make our children work. The measure is an old one brought back by authorities in the hope of raising the general standard of education in the West African country, prohibiting any pupil with an unacceptable grade from pursuing the studies. This measure is a good one. It will help the students and lead them to work harder, to redouble their efforts to get good grades. Minister Morato Kone reassures that students who don't get the expected grades will not be excluded from the school system. Although they will not follow the standard curriculum, they will be able to learn a trade or a different skill. To reassure parents, firstly, this is not a new measure. Students may be excluded from the school, but not from the school system. So there is no dropout, since we have bridges between the Ministry of National Education and Literacy and the Ministry of Technical Education and Vocational Training. The state of Côte d'Ivoire needs to think of these children who would not be able to continue on by inserting them into the social fabric by means of a technical education. For example, small trades, masons, blacksmiths, and so on. In any case, all the small trade that we know, they must be included. They must not be left behind, because all children, in my opinion, are useful for the development of the country. It is not uncommon for Ivory Coast to find classrooms with 60 or even 80 pupils, while a lack of teachers sometimes cuts short the school year by several weeks.
The Ugandan Ministry of Health confirmed Tuesday an outbreak of Ebola Virus Disease. The confirmed case, a 24-year-old man, passed away on Monday. He lived in Mubende District, located 150 kilometers west of Kampala.
When he reported to the hospital, he had the symptoms suspected to be of COVID. The patient was Ebola. He was isolated. The sample was taken on 18th of September. The results came back yesterday evening to confirm the Ebola, the Sudan strain.
It remains unclear how the victim became infected. The World Health Organization said Uganda last reported an outbreak of Sudan Ebola virus in 2012. The authorities are closely monitoring the situation.
In the same village, earlier, we got information regarding the community deaths. which our epidemiologists went on ground to ascertain. Unfortunately, they were not confirmed, they were buried. However, the pattern is it was within the same family, 3 adults and 3 children.
According to WHO Uganda, 8 suspected cases are currently receiving care in a health facility. Dr. Diana Atwini urged the public to remain calm as she spoke to the press in the capital.
I want to assure the public and the international community that Uganda is well known for handling epidemics. And therefore, we have capacity, we have the skills, we have what it takes to contain this Ebola. And so we want to ask to stay calm and let you know that we are going to handle this epidemic precisely.
Ebola spreads through direct contact with the blood, organs and other bodily fluids of infected people. Authorities in DR Congo, which neighbors Uganda, said in August a new case of the virus was linked to a previous outbreak.
Tunisia captain Whabi Khazri believes his country can make history at the upcoming World Cup. The country is in Group D along with France, Australia and Denmark. Even though Tunisia was the lowest-ranked team in Pot 3 and has never made it out of the group stage, the captain remains optimistic.
Je pense qu'on est capable de sortir de cette poule. On sait qu'il y a la France qui est au-dessus, qui va
I think we can make it out of the group.
Le Danemark
We know
aussi,
France is up there and we will play to win. Denmark and Australia are good teams. I think that it would be amazing if we could do it. Tunisia never went beyond the group stage, and I think that we have a well-built group who can qualify from the group. Khazri was part of World Cup squad in 2018 when Tunisia beat Panama 2-1 and won their first World Cup match since 1978. Khazri also scored 1 goal on his side. When you're captain, you need to be an example on the pitch. You know the other players look at you, and the younger ones too. They want to see how the grown-ups behave. So we have this role to have a positive image. Born in France to parents of Tunisian descent, Khazri chose to represent Tunisia in 2012, representing the country in 2018 in Russia, and in 5 African Cup of Nations. Then I was asked from Tunisia. When the top of the sport called for me, I had to answer. I didn't know whether to play for the French team, while I felt that everybody wanted me. So I made myself available. I made the choice, and I don't regret it. I played 5 African Cup of Nations, 1 World Cup, and I hope a second one will come. Playing for the national team is a highlight of a career, and I'm very happy I don't regret the choice I made.
Pour moi, voilà, en sélection, c'est une carrière aboutie qui se passe, donc je suis vraiment content et j'ai pas de regret d'avoir fait ce choix.
Tunisia face Comoros and Brazil later this month as their preparation for the showpiece event in Qatar continues. The Tunisia World Cup 2022 squad is expected to be named in October, and manager Whabi Khazri has hinted at who could be included in this squad for September friendlies.